If you're a high performer looking to grow and make an impact, but feeling stuck, underappreciated, and burned out at work, you're in the right place. I'm Melissa Vining, and this is the Job Search for High Performing Misfits podcast. I help high performers leave draining jobs behind, reclaim their careers, and land roles in organizations where they can thrive. Tune in for tips, insights, and inspiration for your journey to fulfilling work that fits you. Welcome back to Job Search for High Performing Misfits. Today I am talking with Christine Blosdale, who is also known as the Expert Authority Coach. Christine has over 25 years of experience in personal branding and magnetic marketing. As a former content creator for powerhouses like America Online and Microsoft, she specializes in helping entrepreneurs, coaches, and thought leaders become unmistakable go-to authority in their space. Christine is the #1 best-selling author of the Social Media Branding Survival Guide and the winner of the 2025 Women Podcasters Award for Best Broadcaster. Christine, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Melissa. And I think I need to add in there that I am a coach for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, but I think I need to add misfits as well, because I think that's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I'm sure our audiences overlap a bit. I was thinking about this right before we started, and a lot of my audience might be looking for a job, but there are some people who are definitely looking for the entrepreneurship path, because I think that lends itself well to the misfits.
Yes. Yes. And it's an interesting time when we are looking for employment, from others, but there's ways that we can also find that that perfect job that actually fulfills us and gives us that passion push. And it might lead to other things down the road as well.
Yeah, for sure. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about your background and your own career story?
Yes. So, my goodness. Well, I always wanted to be a teacher. I think deep down, because when I was young, I'm a bit older than you, but when I was young, there was no such thing as a coach. I mean, we had coaches, but they were, softball coaches and basketball coaches, but there was no concept really of having someone that you bring into your world and help guide you along the way, if in your career or for business. They were called consultants, and they were very expensive and not really connected to people in that entrepreneurial journey. So I always wanted to be a teacher. I studied to be a teacher, went to college, and then when I graduated, I found out how much they paid teachers and what they make them do. And I said, no, I don't think that's my life. I kind of was scrambling for a while, doing odd jobs, what I could out of college, paying back my tuition and book fees and everything. And I knew I wanted to have something creative in my life as well. And so I was doing a lot of searching, and I started writing. I remember for this little tiny magazine in West Hollywood. I lived in Los Angeles at the time, and there was this magazine, and they were looking for writers. And so I started writing for them, doing music and movie reviews. And I did it under a pen name. I did it under a pen name called Beatbox Betty. And she was this cartoon character, really. And so I did that for a little while, and it was okay, but no money. And then I saw an ad for America Online, and they were looking for columnists for their different channels. They were really filling out all the channels. And America Online, for those that don't know, America Online used to be the only thing. There was no TikTok, there was no Facebook, none of that. It was AOL, and that's how we connected to the rest of the world. And it was high technology back then. But I was very lucky, and I got a break, and I got to write for America Online for about 2 years, I think it was, and continued doing the Hollywood stuff, doing celebrity interviews. I got on the red carpet because I was with America Online, and big movie companies were like, yes, come in, AOL, we want you to do these interviews. So I did that for a while, and then 9/11 happened, and I was like, oh, and I had that moment, which many of us do, I think. We might be working a job that has a lot of perks or pays really well, but there's something missing. And when 9/11 happened, I really analyzed my life and what I was doing, and I said, oh, I don't know if this is that important, right?
Yeah.
And so as we do when we're searching for something, that magic moment comes, or that opportunity comes, and it's being able to know when to act on it.
Yeah.
right? When to feel that pull and when to go, I need to make a change. Now, AOL, I was being paid very well for the time at the time. And I came across a radio station that was very unique, and it was not beating the drums of war. It was questioning things and asking important questions at the time, which I feel that we're at right now in that same sort of moment, right? So I was just drawn to it, and I said, I got to go to the station and find out more. I did. I went there and walked around and just told everybody how much I appreciated the work that they did. And they said, what do you do? And I'm like, I work for America Online. I write as a cartoon character. And they're like, that's cool. That's awesome. And somebody said, you should volunteer. And I did. That volunteer stint turned into a job. And after that, I was there for 20 years.
Wow.
Interviewing people, getting my chops as a producer and a host, and learning what people want and need and how to communicate that as best as possible.
Wow.
So for 20 years, I did that. And I was like, this is it. This is magic. I loved being on the microphone. I loved communicating with people that I couldn't see, the audience. And a lot of the people that I was interviewing, I couldn't help it, but I was giving them advice.
Yeah.
I was giving them business advice and career advice. And, hey, I went to your website and this is great and everything, but what if you added this, or what if you did? And they took that advice. And so I started working with some of those people that came on the radio. And then the next thing you know, I became a business coach, really. Calling myself the expert authority coach is different because I really love honing in on people's gifts and talents and showcasing them so that they can start their own business or work for somebody that they really love.
That's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean by expert authority coach? What does that generally mean to you and to the clients that you work with?
I help overwhelmed business owners, entrepreneurs get seen, get trusted, and get paid for what they already know. So we're not reinventing you completely. We're basically taking the skills that you already have and amplifying them and showcasing them so that if you are looking for that particular job, your resume, your website, your media kit, your bio is really highlighting and showcasing you instead of just allowing ChatGPT to write it for you. I add the human element by looking at those things that I think should be showcased and that are really important. And then we communicate that message also through your social media, all that stuff. So it's helping you get seen, but most importantly, get trusted.
Yeah.
So that you can get paid. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think this is such an important part of the job search that is kind of under recognized in a lot of ways and is the thing that people really, really need to do. They need to be able to communicate their impact. And in order to do that, they have to start by owning their impact and really understanding what that looks like for them. So I think the work you're doing is so important.
Yes. And we tend to, it's changing the dynamics because, okay, if you're either looking for a job or to be placed somewhere, or if you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur who's looking for clients to build your business, it's the same thing in many respects. And what we do need to do is we need to flip that energy of wanting, needing, right? And coming from a place of ownership and being confident in yourself, but also being proud of the work that you've done. No ego attached, no arrogance. It's just like, I know if I'm up for something and I'm up alongside a lot of other business coaches, let's say, I'm so confident in the work that I've done and the experience that I've had for 20 years on radio, 11 years as a podcast host, 20 years now coaching people. It's all those years of experience of doing things and doing them wrong in the beginning and learning from those things, falling and getting back up, seeing the things, the boo-boos, the stuff that you want to tell other people, say, please, whatever you do, if you're going to create a media kit or if you're going to make sure your headshot is, make sure your photo is really, good. Those type of things, that comes from experience that only I can have.
Yeah.
So we want to instill that in the folks that we work with. that they're unique, and that trustworthiness will come from that confidence that you have.
Yeah.
It's that scarcity mindset or that needing or wanting that energy we want to sort of, without getting woo-woo, right? But we want to step away from that kind of energy. And it can be hard sometimes because you're like, but I do need a job or I do need the clients. That's okay. But nobody wants that desperation. Nobody wants to join, the Titanic.
Right. Yeah. Do you have any like ways of shifting that mindset? Because that can sometimes be easier said than done, right? We can say like, oh yeah, I'm not going to go in with desperation, but how practically can someone like remove that piece of it?
A lot of times it's just recognizing that that's a thing. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're putting out that, I call it the desperation stink, right? And sometimes we don't even realize that we're putting that scent out, but it's in the words that we use. It's how we show up. I think a great tool is creating your own podcast, being a guest on podcast shows, on social media, doing those videos. Putting up a graphic or a photo and then writing, the caption is great and all, and that's important. But really showing up when you're on video, it is one of the most powerful things because you're connecting directly to the audience. You're connecting directly to that potential employer, but you're also communicating with the people that are in your world. And like on a place like TikTok or something, people that you would never meet, right? Facebook is your friends and family and people you went to school with. And something like TikTok or LinkedIn, a lot of times, those are people that you may not ever meet, but you're going to give them that first impression by them watching they'll scroll and they'll stop and they'll watch.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when you come through.
Yeah.
And I think those are really golden opportunities. So the ways that there's different ways we can build confidence, but I think it's really important to realize that we have an energy and we're all energy and we have a vibe and we put out certain notes, right? If you're a musician, if you think about it, there's some music you can listen to and you're like, oh God, I love that. I love handpan music. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but they're shaped like almost like a UFO, and they're steel, and there's divots in them, and there are people that know how to play. I have one, and I can't play it I'm horrible at it, but there are people that play it, and it's the most beautiful tones I've ever heard. It reminds me of someone that sound when you have a beautiful a violinist, right? Who knows how to play the violin. Now, somebody who doesn't, it could be very painful to listen to, but it's that feeling that you get. So it's the same thing with us. We emit a tone, and that is through the things that we focus on, the words that we say, the words that we use, and how we show up. And I think video is one of the most powerful tools you can use to analyze also how you yourself are appearing to the outside world. But then it's great to have a mentor or a coach who can also take a look and go, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And this is probably what the other people that are looking at your content what they're getting as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to take a step back because I think the number one mistake that I see people make in their job search is lack of clarity, basically. And then the second mistake is going to be kind of lack of personal branding, right? And positioning. And there's so much noise out in the market that if you're not intentional about standing out, you get lost. And what people come in saying usually is like, I want to be broad. I want to be open. I'm open to anything. And to them, that feels like a better strategy. But actually, we know that the opposite is true. Why is that from your perspective?
Because it muddies the water. I come across this a lot because the people that come into my world are very multi-talented. And I am too. I have lots of things I can do. I can help you create your own podcast show. I can help you create fun, amazing TikToks. I can show you how to edit those things. I can do this, that, and the other. But if I had that as my messaging, it would be so many things to so many people, right? And what happens is that nobody comes through your doors because they don't really know what it is that you do. You do a little this, you do a little that. I have some people say, I do everything for everybody. And I'm like, you're going to get nobody. because it's so vague. And I hate the words, niche down, niche down. I tell people, if you're multi-talented, you're going to use all of your talents. But to get you through the door, or to get someone through your door to you, you need to have real clarity. So instead of myself saying, I can help you create a podcast, I can help you be a guest on, I can help you with your website, I can help you with the social media, I can help you create a best-selling book, all those things, that would be too confusing in my messaging, right? So first I need to bring somebody into my world. So that's why I hone in on helping you establish your expert authority, helping you get seen, helping you get heard, helping you get trusted, and helping you get paid. So that covers a lot, but I'm bringing them in through the doorway of expert authority, right? Once they're in my house, then I'm going to show them all my paintings, right? I'm going to show them all my things. I'm going to say, look, you have a personality that is perfect for a podcast host. Not everybody is built for that.
Yeah.
Right. But if I'm working with somebody, I can say, hey, I've got this thing that I can help you with. I've got that thing I can help you with. It's the same thing when you're applying for a position that you think that you're going to be really interested in. If you go at them and say, I want this job, but I can also do this and this and that. And then they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. We have something that needs to be filled. Once you get your foot in the door, then you can make your alliances with people, and then you can share, hey, did you know that I'm also a whiz at, websites? And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe we hired you for this, but let's get you on that,
Yeah.
But you have to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
So that's the importance of being really clear. And it's not niching down. It's narrowing your focus.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You take your greatest skill set, whatever that is, and make it so that it's definitely going to connect with that potential client or that potential employer. But all those great gifts that you have, you're not leaving them by the side of the road. You're bringing them with you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the keys that you touched on when you were talking about your own experience is the fact that the expert authority piece goes through all of those other things that you can help people with, right? Before they can do the book, before they can do the podcast, before they can do any of those things, they have to know what their expert authority is. And I think creating that through line is really kind of the foundation of this.
Well, and trust me, I've been in that place of not knowing what to call myself.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I think I was a media coach because it was so much about radio and podcasting and things. And media coach, it sounded too unattainable for people.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, first of all, they don't really know what that is.
Yeah.
And then it was business coach. Well, that's still very vague.
Yeah.
There's a gazillion business coaches out there. And there's some business coaches that get into the whole, they get into the nitty gritty of, of balance sheets and bookkeeping and that I'm like, no, that ain't me. So that's why when I finally nailed it down, and that's what I do with my clients, I help them nail down what their title is. We want to crown you the blank expert.
Yeah.
So I have clients that were colon hydrotherapists and so successful in their little geographically small location, but now they're gut health experts who have international clients and products that they can sell all around the world. So we're taking people, their skill set, but we're also giving them a title that is memorable.
Yeah.
And if it hasn't been made up yet, then you can make it up.
Yeah, definitely.
You can make it up.
Yeah, I love it. So how does someone go about clarifying what that is for themselves? Let's say they don't have you as a great coach. How can they do this on their own?
Ooh, we sometimes I equate it to being inside of a jar. And let's say it's a jar of pasta sauce, right? We're inside the jar as human beings, and we don't see what's on the label. We only are seeing what's inside, right? So we don't have full vision. We only see what's inside. So you need someone to look from the outside and to look from the outside in and to look and see what you've done. And they're going to be able to point out the things that maybe you thought were throwaways. For the longest time in my bio, I didn't mention I worked for America Online or Microsoft, which is MSN back in the day. I forgot.
Yeah.
Now, because this was a long time ago. This was what, in the 90s or something? It was a long time ago. But for the longest time, when I was doing all the stuff that I had done, all the radio work and the fundraising and all this stuff. And then one day it hit me, and I think it was because I was I was updating my resume. And I was updating my resume, and I was looking at you know how you do the years? From this year to this year, I was here, this year to this year. And so for 20 years, I was at one place at the radio station. But I was going back, and I go, gosh, there's missing time here. Like, what was happening between this year and this year? And I remembered, I went, oh my God, I worked for a very large, big brand.
Yeah.
A recognizable brand.
Yeah.
Right? It's such a recognizable brand that, of course, when I put it on my resume, I also got more opportunities. But when it came from my business life, it helped open doors. So sometimes we do need to take a step back, and because we've been through it, maybe we had a really hard time at a particular place, or something that we've done was like really rough. That's okay. You can utilize that, right? That's important. So sometimes we do need somebody just from the outside to look in, and then other times we need to really look back at all of our experiences and see how that's going to benefit our new clients that come into our world, but also those opportunities, those employment opportunities that we can have.
Definitely. So let's talk a little bit about personal branding. What's your definition of a personal brand?
I'll tell you what it's not. It's not just a logo and the colors that you use, your branded colors. A lot of people spend a lot of time on the fonts that they use and the logo, and they'll spend a lot of time and money on that. The personal brand is your energy. It is your vibe. It's how you show up. So how do you show up? Do you show up on time? Do you show up excited? Do you show up saying, oh, I've got to be here? Or do you have an energy about you that attracts people or repels them? And that desperation stink that we talked about earlier is an energy, and it will repel people. It will also bring people to your world that probably you don't want. Okay? So that's the power. That's how powerful it is, your mindset is, and the energy that you put out. But your personal brand is that energy imprint. So on my personal brand, if you notice, I have a particular headshot that I use that is much like how I look today, right? I've got black rimmed glasses. I have headphones on. I have a microphone up next to my face. And the photo that I use, you can't even see my eyes. I have an expression of pure joy. It's like I'm laughing or I'm screaming, but in a fun, excited way. So that's my personal brand. People who want really serious business coaches who, work on the bottom line type thing, that are not going to be attracted to my brand. But the people that are excited and they want to have fun as they're developing their business, and they want to think outside of the box a bit, they will be attracted to that. So that's really what your personal brand is. It's not about your logos or your fonts. It's the energy that you put out. And that will be represented in videos that you put out there, but also that headshot, that profile shot.
Yeah.
Take time to make it be really good and make it be representative of you.
Yeah, I love that. So that idea with the headshot, I think, leads into this idea of authenticity and how that's showing up in the personal brand.
Yeah. It is so important right now. It is so important. If you take a look at just society, the things that are falling to the wayside, this idea of perfection, right? We see it happening in Hollywood. We see it happening in the music industry. All those things that we thought were so important, or those people that we looked up to, we see them falling like crazy. And we're also able to, I think, as a human, as a species, I think we're able to more and more be able to tell when someone is lying. We are able to tell when a brand is lying, when a person is lying, when a politician is lying. We can smell it, we can see it, we can sense it. So, with that, we can also tell when somebody is maybe padding the truth, right? So, when we do encounter someone who is purely raw, authentic themselves, and with all the good and the weird and all that other stuff, it's refreshing and people are hungry for that authenticity. So that's why it's important. And it's also important sometimes, it's important to be vulnerable when it's important to be vulnerable. We're not steel cages. There's a fine line of being vulnerable, like how much you get vulnerable and knowing your audience, right? But that vulnerability also brings people closer to you.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity when I worked at the radio station, they asked me to be the general manager of this radio station for, first it was supposed to be a couple weeks and then it ended up being a year. And I still had all my other duties that I was doing on top of being a general manager. But one thing that I think was important was that I was authentic. I was authentically myself. I said, first of all, I don't know about budgets and dealing with board members, all those things. They were like, it's okay. We trust you. So it's okay. So we did all that. But it was also because I was vulnerable when I needed to be vulnerable. And also I felt when a staff member was having a hard time, I didn't ignore it. I pulled them into my office and I just said, if you want to talk about it, please share something with me. But I care about you. And how can that go wrong for you when you actually say, you know what, I care about you? So it's riding this gentle wave of being authentic, being yourself, because also you don't want to be somebody that you're not. If you're pretending to be something else, if you're pretending to be a Kardashian and you do get an opportunity to work with some, incredible opportunity, but you're trying to play a Kardashian when you're really not, when you're a Christine or a Melissa, right? Then it's going to feel horribly, horribly uncomfortable for you.
Right.
And you're always going to be fearful that someone's going to find you out. Who's going to find me out? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so much easier when you're just yourself.
Right. And when yourself, you can lean more into your strengths as well, which is an important part of being successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because then you're in your natural habitat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I told my employer, I remember early on at the radio station, I said, you know what? It's almost a 2-hour commute to work and then 2 hours back. So that's 4 hours of my day. I said, I also work better at home alone without people coming into my office and, tap, tap, tap. And did you watch that TV show? And what, the water cooler talk. I said, I work so much better and I produce so much more when I'm at home in my, shorts and no shoes. And my little toy poodle is here and I'm happy. I'm saving 4 hours in commute. I can produce the stuff that you need much better. And they allowed me that. They said, you know what, Christine? At first they said, let's try it. Let's see. Because everybody else here has to be here from 9 to 5 and, get in the house. And I said, I understand it. So you're trusting me. I understand. And man, I delivered. I delivered so damn much. It was ridiculous. I did record fund drives, record money producing fund drives.
Wow.
Created $1.5 million a year for this little tiny radio station that was completely sponsored by listeners. Because I was in my flow. I was in my state. I was able to communicate that this is how I shine.
Right.
This is how I do my best work. And I did not, because a lot of people would have taken that opportunity and they wouldn't have done the work, or they would have just slept in, gone to the movies, whatever, not done their work. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was given an opportunity and I made the best out of it.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that for many years, thankfully. I did have to go to the station once in a while.
Right.
But for the majority of time, I got to be in my space that I was able to create.
That's
So,
amazing.
don't be afraid to ask for what you need too, what you want.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, actually, because it's the fact that you went in and you said, hey, this is how I work best. This is how I can deliver the most value to you. And that's what's important to them, right? So you're kind of giving both sides.
And the same thing is true when you want to get paid what you believe you need to be paid.
Yes.
Sometimes we take opportunities because it's a great opportunity. It's a great learning experience. And we maybe go, well, okay, it doesn't pay a whole lot, but I'm going to learn a lot, or I'm going to do something that I'm very passionate about. That's all well and good. But then if you're doing a lot of incredible work and there's high value to you and who you are at that place, don't be afraid to ask for more money. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was able to put it on a chart. I was able to say, let's see here, $1.5 million a year, and you're paying me this salary. I think you need to pay me a little bit more. I wasn't extorting them. I wasn't holding it for ransom and going, you will pay me $1 million. But I was saying it's fair to pay me this salary based on how much I bring in.
Yeah.
And how I can help you pay other people.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes you got to ask for it. They're not going to give it to you just because. You need to ask for it.
Right. Yeah. And that actually leads me into the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which is that you could be the best in the world at what you do, but if you're not visible in the right way to the right people, you're going to get stuck. Why do you think that so many high performers tend to get overlooked?
A lot of times overachievers and high performers suffer from imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And the imposter syndrome is basically, it's when we're asked to do something that we're not really comfortable with or we haven't done before. And overachievers, in many respects, want to do it perfectly. And they're not lazy at all. They overachieve, right? So they're the ones that have to get that 100% on the tests. And they've got all these credentials and these courses and all these things. So, but what happens is that they're afraid of failing or afraid of what people are going to say or think about them. And so that fear, what will people think? What will people say? That fear, or what happens if it goes wrong, that holds people back. It holds people back in careers. It holds them back with their own business. It holds them back with communicating their message. And it holds them back from actually showing up for the people that are important in their lives. So that's a really important thing to deal with. And I deal with that with a lot of my clients. That's kind of the first thing that we test out and see if they're running on that. And here's the thing. We all encounter imposter syndrome. From at one time or another, we all have it. I've had moments of it. I'm able to see what it is and to recognize it for what it is. But sometimes when we go through the gauntlet of feeling those feelings and we go through that moment of what are people going to think? What are people going to say? I have my clients focus on the outcome, not on themselves. It can be a mind game, but instead of thinking about what people are going to be saying about you, think about if you go through with this uncomfortable thing that's making you scared, what's on the other side of that?
Yeah.
Right? So an example of going back to the station, the very first time I had to be on air, I had to host a show. I was terrified because I was a producer. I was behind the scenes. I was a writer. I was like, no, I am not on the microphone. I am not talent that way. I'm a producer. I'm behind the scenes, behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And I had to, they said, no, you have to go and do the show because the host is sick or they broke their leg or something. I don't remember. But I was terrified. And I thought all those things that people think when you have imposter syndrome. What are people they're going to know that I am not a professional on-air host. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
People are gonna be mean and they're gonna say horrible things about me. They're gonna call in the station and say, "Who is this chick?" Right? My whole career is gonna be washed down the tubes. All those things. And because I really had to do it, I sat in the studio. I put the microphone next to me. the on-air light went on, and then something magic happened. Something that I could never have foreseen. I just knew what to say, and I started talking, and it was magic, and my whole career changed.
Wow.
So sometimes going through those things that you want to throw up, you're like, oh, I'm going to just this is so wrong, and I feel sick. Sometimes that's what we need to go through.
Yeah. Yeah. And just because maybe it feels scary doesn't mean it's the wrong thing, right? It can still be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that that is such a good kind of framing to have, because if you're thinking about the output, a lot of the times that's what high performers are thinking of anyway, right? Like that's the goal. I want to get to the goal, or I want to help someone with this thing. And if you focus on that and it's not so much about you, it becomes a little less scary.
Yes. Well, and it's not about you.
Yeah.
Our ego wants to make it about us.
Yeah.
But it's not. And again, we can, as a society, when we see someone who has full-blown egomania, we see it.
Yeah.
And it's not pleasant.
No.
Right? And most of us do not walk around in that frame of mind.
Right.
It's about helping others. Yeah. It's about uplifting others. It's about doing a really good job at what you do, so you can feel good when you go home. Sometimes it's about camaraderie. It's about being around the people that you work with. I love my clients. I look forward to being with my clients. They're family now, right?
Yeah.
So it's some of those things. And I think it's really important the fear is just there. It's a self-preservation thing, right? It'll pop up from time to time.
Yeah.
And just think of it as birds in the sky. They're going to fly by.
Yeah.
It'll pass.
Yeah.
Promise.
Definitely. Okay, so you talk a lot about becoming in demand rather than chasing clients or chasing jobs. What actually makes a personal brand magnetic instead of just visible?
It's tapping into knowing that that you have the ability to be magnetic, right? It's choosing the right words. I know that I do a full-on audit of my website every couple weeks, right? Because I'm growing and I'm changing. I'm learning more as an expert authority coach. All of the skills that I have gained over the years, I'm learning new things, and I'm opening up my world vision of what's possible. So I know that for me, I need to go in and check in. I know some people who their resume or their website, they haven't changed a thing in years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, have you changed as a human?
Yeah.
Heck, we've all changed in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Right? We've changed. We've changed in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So I think keeping inventory of that is really important. And that can address some of that. It also can remind us of what we've accomplished, and we can give ourselves a little bit of a pat on the back and go, you know what? I've done some really good stuff.
I think that's one of my favorite things when I'm working with clients, let's say on their resume, is helping them get to the point where they can look at it and say, wow, I actually have done all of these things and this is actually great.
I'd hire me.
Yeah, exactly. We want you to get to that point.
Exactly.
So do you see a correlation between people who focus on authority and visibility and their income and impact?
I think, again, it goes back to the messaging. The words that we use are so important. And I think it's important to realize when you spell out the words, it's called spelling. You're casting a spell. So how we structure things, how we word things is very, very important. And I know that a lot of times we're in the era of AI, and I know that a lot of times people will allow ChatGPT to write things for them. I call him Charlie. I love my Charlie, my ChatGPT. But I also know that I use Charlie to enhance, not to replace. So I will give my original thoughts, my original text that I've written, my copy, my communication, and I'll say, am I missing something here if I was this person as an audience member? My target audience, the people that resonate with me and that I work with, are women between 35 and 65. and they have their own business or are starting off their own business as a coach or a counselor. And so I will ask ChatGPT, as a woman between 35 and 65 who is a solopreneur, who is seeking help and advice and guidance on social media and all these things, branding, messaging. Am I very clear here to you as that person? And that helps. So allowing those type of tools to enhance your communication or enhance your messaging is important. But you need to create that. It needs to be your imprint.
Yes.
It needs to be your energy
Yes.
that you put out.
Yeah, I totally
And have somebody like Melissa, have a mentor or a coach, someone to look over those things, because you're not going to see everything.
Yeah.
You might be stating something, you might think you know how you're stating it, but to someone else looking at it, they're like, whoa,
Yes.
do you really want to say that?
Yes. Yes. And I think you're right, where I see so many AI generated resumes and AI generated profiles and things like that. And they're just so generic that when I read them, my brain turns off and it's not helpful to anyone.
Exactly. It's the same, because it all uses the same language.
Yes.
So it's not even so much that you don't know what's true or not, because that could be on anything. Like somebody can falsify whatever that they're writing. It's not so much that. It's the same type of words.
Yes.
It's the same vocabulary.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When I first started using my ChatGPT, I would write something and then I would say, I don't know, just take a look at it. Would you do something different to this? And he would begin, whatever. They would begin with the world-renowned Christine Blosdale. And I would just go, shut up.
Yep.
That's not, you don't need to use those kind of words.
Yeah. Or it'll say adept. I'm adept at XYZ every time.
Yeah. Nobody says adept.
No, exactly. If you didn't say it in real life, please don't say it on your resume. Please don't say it on your copy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about your 90-day authority accelerator program.
So I am so excited about this because I have found that 90 days is the perfect amount of time to go over someone's everything when it comes to their messaging and communication with the world. So a big problem a lot of people have is that they start promoting themselves without building the foundation. If there's no foundation, if there is no solid flooring, you don't want to bring people into your house. You're not going to don't start buying the curtains in the couches if you don't have the foundation built. So we build the foundation. But in 90 days, it's enough time to go over everything, to go over social media, their website, their messaging, give them a new title if they don't have one. We come up with that. Creating a media kit, right? And then also getting them ready for their offers, getting them ready for what they want to offer the world. And that takes a little bit of time, but in 90 days, it can be done. And then after that, if people want to continue to work with me, they can. But in the 90 days, it's just enough time that we can get a lot done. A lot.
Amazing.
They see me every single week during that time. We have a very, very fun sessions. And then they're welcome to stay with me after that. Some people do, or they can fly and come back and get a tune-up every now and then. But it's a perfect amount of time to really work on their expert authority.
Awesome. So if someone wants to learn more about that or learn more about all the other things that you're doing, where can they find you?
It's super easy. They can go to expertauthoritycoach.com. They can also go to theexpertauthoritycoach.com, and there's a way for them to book a free consultation with me. It's the only way that I can learn about who you are, what you want to do, and where you're going so that I can help you. So that's a free consultation. It's on the website. It says all over the place, free consult. And if they want to specifically look at the 90-day Expert Authority program, they can go to 90dayexpertauthority.com. It's still part of my website, but it's just a direct link to it, and they can check it out and see. I think it's also a really affordable way for people to have a personal coach. My whole thing is to make myself available to as many people as possible, and I believe in no long-term contracts, and I believe in keeping things affordable for people. I think that's really important. Because we do all deserve a little bit of help every now and then.
Yeah, definitely. So those will be linked in the show notes for anyone looking for those. And for the last kind of words of wisdom, if someone's listening right now, they're feeling really motivated to build their authority, increase their visibility, what is the first step they can take?
I think a great first step is to create your media kit. And I know people may go, well, why do I need a media kit? It's so important because in a media kit that you create, and you can go to Canva and just look up media kit or press kit, but it forces you to have that professional photo of yourself. It forces you to list in a small amount of space to create your bio. And it also is really good for you to reflect on and to look at and to see all of the great things that you've done. So I have with my clients, we create a media kit. I create that with them, but you can do it yourself on Canva, super easy. And then print it up and put it next to your computer so you're reminded of what you've accomplished. We forget sometimes. So it's a great reminder and it's a great starting point for people.
Yeah, definitely. And you had reached out to me about the podcast and sent me your media kit. And it was one of the things that made it so easy for me to say yes. I was so excited because I could tell exactly who you were, what you did, how it aligned with what I do. And you had like all the questions that I had answered on the media kit. So I was like, yeah, this is perfect. Sign me up.
Fantastic. Yes. And a good media kit will help people, of course, get different opportunities, not just to be a guest on a podcast show, but there's suggested topics on the backside that I have.
Yes.
And questions. And these are questions and topics that you want people to be talking about.
Yeah.
So whatever your expertise is, creating a media kit is a great start.
Well, thank you, Christine. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
If you love this podcast, be sure to hit subscribe, leave me a review, and share it with a friend so we can help more high-performing misfits find work they love. See you next time.